I still believe that we're going to see if the Bitcoin dominance go up to the neckline right here, which means that Bitcoin will outperform altcoins in the next probably couple of weeks or so. But this is where the interesting things is going to happen. Whether we break above the neckline or not, that is going to create potential fireworks. Because if we see this scenario play out, then altcoins are probably going to have to correct quite heavily against Bitcoin.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm joined, as always, on Mondays by Carl from the moon. Last week, it looked like we were heading to the moon. Then it looked like we were heading back to the depths of sadness and depression. And now, I don't know, maybe we're poised to head back up again. By the way, everybody, make sure to check out Carl's link to his channel down below in the video description. Give him a sub. He's over 500,000 now. So, congratulations on that. You've been there a while. But Carl, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I mean, you're talking about sadness and depression, but I mean, as long as I'm holding Bitcoin, I'm always happy. Whether we're up or down, as long as my portfolio is mainly Bitcoin, I always sleep very well. So I'm actually very happy. But yeah, I mean, the crypto market is going up and down as always. And I think all of us that have been in crypto for quite some time, we are used to this now. But I know that the newcomers, they're always so shocked when they buy Bitcoin and then it goes down 20% or something. So I know it is a wild ride, but eventually you get used to it, right?
Yeah, well, somewhat. You know, the volatility is always a little. The main difference I find between people who've been in crypto a while, like us, and newer people is, we pretty much, I would say, only check the price of Bitcoin because we do videos. Like, I'm never like every 5 minutes watching my portfolio like you do when you're new.
I remember in the beginning in 2017, I was checking my portfolio literally like every 10 minutes, especially when the price
waking up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's like the first thing as soon as I woke up. Now I'm actually much more disconnected. Even though I'm also trading, I'm actually very good at disconnecting from the charts. And I think it's important to not stare at the charts every single minute, because also you're making bad decisions when you're looking at the chart all the time. You need to step back and take a look at the daily or weekly time frame, because when you're looking at the 15-minute time frame or the 5-minute time frame, you're gonna get wrecked because you're gonna make stupid mistakes. And I learned that very early, actually, when I was looking at charts. So yeah, that's an important tip, actually.
Well, so Carl's tip here is, don't look at the chart so much. Carl, let's look at the charts.
Yeah, that's the perfect intro to the charts, right? All right, let me share my screen here. All right, guys, so let's start off with Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame here. And just to give everybody a quick little summary here, we saw this rising wedge, and we actually broke the yellow support here, and we broke the 4-hour EMA ribbon to the downside. And then we saw this falling wedge getting formed within this bigger rising wedge. And this one we actually broke to the upside, as you can see here. And we're right now getting the reaction from that breakout. And everyone who watched my video earlier today will know that we talked also about this double bottom that formed here. So we have a bottom there and a bottom there. And if you look at the exact target, we would do this. And you can see that Bitcoin has a target of $64,000 approximately, because of the fact that we broke out of this double bottom. So what I'm watching right now for Bitcoin in the immediate short term is obviously the target out of the double bottom, but also this support line, this yellow support line, which will be very important. Let me just take away the ribbon so you can see it more clearly. So essentially, if we do see this scenario play out, then we're going to have to see if we're going to get rejected by the resistance, because that could be the bearish scenario, right? But if we come back above this resistance, that would be very, very bullish, indicating that I believe we're going to go and make another attempt above all-time high, and hopefully this time successfully stay above it. So that is what's happening to Bitcoin currently. And I actually added a little bit to one of my long positions just before we jumped on this video, actually. Going over to Ethereum real quick here, we can see that Ethereum on the US dollar chart formed this huge inverse head and shoulders. And I'm pretty sure we talked about this on your channel last week. And we also saw this bull flag. But long story short, ever since we broke above the neckline here out of this inverse head and shoulders, we still have this target, from the bottom to the neckline. We pull it up at the point of the breakout, gives us an Ethereum target of approximately $4.6 thousand. And this is still the case. So I'm still bullish on Ethereum. Going into the immediate short term, I would say that we're looking at a potential small double bottom here. Putting a line like this will show us a potential trade setup. And I hope that when we jump on the collaboration next week, I will be able to say that this happened exactly as I predicted.
Exactly.
So the target in this case would be $4,480 for Ethereum. So this could be a nice little trade of approximately 7.5%. Could be very interesting indeed to play this. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance real quick.
Yeah, I think this is where things are getting super interesting right now.
Right? Everyone is speculating about Bitcoin and altcoins. And I would say that we're still in this big double bottom here. And I still believe that we're going to see if the Bitcoin dominance go up to the neckline right here, which means that Bitcoin will outperform altcoins in the next probably couple of weeks or so. But this is where the interesting things is going to happen. Whether we break above the neckline or not, that is going to create potential fireworks. Because if we see this scenario play out, then altcoins are probably going to have to correct quite heavily against Bitcoin. And actually, if we do see a massive push above the Bitcoin all-time high, I would expect this scenario to play out. But if we consolidate from here and Bitcoin starts to correct, then I think we're probably going to see this scenario play out. So that's what I'm seeing for the Bitcoin dominance currently.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I've been telling my audience that I felt like, for the last 6 weeks, probably, I thought we were going to see the Bitcoin dominance return to about 55%. But even last week, as Bitcoin was pumping and everything else wasn't really moving, we still didn't really get the traction I thought we would get. I mean, it peaked out at about 48%. I don't see us going over 50% again for the rest of this bull run. I think that was the chance, because even if we do go above all-time highs, I mean, we're going to head probably to, let's say it goes all the way up to $75,000 to $80,000. Is that going to be enough to push Bitcoin dominance up above 55%? Or up above 50%? I just at this point don't know if it's going to. There's too much excitement for altcoins. People are not really selling altcoins to get into Bitcoin. They realize that even though that seems to be a winning trade in the short term, you're also rolling the dice to risk kind of the bottom of altcoin season, and people don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. So I think that line you drew right there at 49% or 49.5%, wherever that is, it's very interesting to me. And I don't see the other scenario playing out at this point. It could. But
what about in a bear market? In a bear market, I think for sure we're going to see this just like any other bear market. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in the bear market, I think we will see 60%. I don't think we'll ever see 70% again.
That's fine. I think that's possible. I mean, if we zoom out a little bit, 60% has a lot of resistance here from previous support. So that could be a big level, definitely. I would say that, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, Carl, that's all we got time for today. Thank you for coming on. Talking about where you think Bitcoin is heading, Ethereum, and then looking at the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is something I know a lot of people are interested in. All-time highs for Ethereum, definitely something people are interested in. So giving it a little bit of a roadmap for that. Anything you want to end us with today?
Oh, I have a question. Yeah, I have a question. So as most people already know, I actually spent $1 million on a CryptoPunk, which is, as most of you probably know, is an NFT, right? And I don't know, I would love to ask you also, I guess we will talk about it on my channel as well, but do you think I'm crazy, or do you think this is actually going to play out like a good investment?
Well, you got to understand the way that we work here at BitBoy Crypto. I've got 35 employees now. I have a business partner. It's not just me making the decisions. If it was just me making the decisions, I would already bought one. So there are some people here that, at our highest levels that think that, we might be heading towards the top of the NFT marketplace. Obviously they watch the channel. TJ thinks we might be near the top. I don't think we're near the top. I think it is a solid investment. I think even if it goes back down to $500,000 or $600,000, eventually it will return when, the NFT market goes through a cycle. So I don't think you're crazy. I would probably do it. I think it's a good store value at this point.
Well, thank you. I'll keep hodling it then for
There you go. Awesome. Yeah. All right, guys, that's all we got. Let us know what you think about Carl's NFT purchase, and also where you think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going. I want to know the number that you think Bitcoin dominance will peak out at. Drop that down below in the comments. That's all I got. Be blessed. Way out.